Hello and welcome to The Truth in Politics. Things go on social media these days. Increasingly, more and more people find it convenient to use platforms like these to lie, attack, and insult people and generally deceive the general public. And they think no one has the time to research, no one has the interest in searching for the naked truth, and no one has the time to unravel the mysteries and conspiracies so that the Ghanaian people will know the real truth. Basically, it is easy for anyone to accuse anyone in public office of corruption and use fictitious documents or images to buttress their accusations. Well, we have the time and interest, and we will make sure that Ghanaian people get to know the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in politics. So this week I want to start by telling you about one major problem when it comes to the anti-corruption fight in Ghana. And it is the attempt by some to create the impression that all politicians are the same when it comes to corruption. No matter what you do, in the end, it will take a political party to win an election, right? And lead the fight against corruption. In the fight against corruption, it comes down to which of the two main parties really has the hearts and the systems to fight corruption, and which one is really corrupt. Now, I have come to observe that between the two parties, the NDC has a definite proven track record in being corrupt. The MPP often ends up being clumsy when it comes to defending itself against unfounded accusations of corruption. When the NDC is in government, the officials get involved in schemes to loot and share the national resources. And this is not just me saying, this is evidence from the courts over and over again. When they find it out themselves, they cover it up or simply transfer that official to another office to continue looting. With the MPP, they often get accused of corruption by a strong opposition and a hungry media whenever they are in power. And because they aren't skilled at propaganda, as you know, or hard, dirty politic players, they end up struggling to defend themselves. It is only after they leave office that you discover that there's no evidence, which explains why succeeding administrations fail to convict any of their officers. The NDC never adds anything significant to Ghana's anti-corruption infrastructure at all, but the MPP always beefs up the machinery for fighting corruption, such as passing the Public Procurement Act. At their next go, they introduced independent legal institutions to prosecute even their own officers should they err while in office. In the NDC, when an official is found to be corrupt, like the Minister of Youth and Sports and his deputy after the Brazil World Cup disgrace, yes, the president merely transfers those officials to a different place in the same administration. With the MPP, even when there's a mere allegation of corruption, the president removes the official from the administration and sends the allegations to the investigative agencies to do their work. In the NDC, there's so much evidence of corruption that the officials have actually been convicted in a court of law to have engaged in corruption and have served prison time. Yes, I hope you do remember. With MPP, the worst that have been leveled against the officials are allegations of corruption, and that failed to be proven in court. With the NDC, the president's brother received all the major contracts literally across all the ministries under his administration. And many of these contracts were heavily inflated. By the way, with the NPP, when an official is suspected to be involved in insider trading, he's removed from office within 24 hours. That's quite swift, isn't it? With the NDC, the entire bauxite deposit in the country worth billions of dollars were given to the president's brother for a pittance, while the president cheered on, saying it was a legitimate transaction. With the NPP, it applied to the courts to strike out that transaction and use the resources to construct $2 billion worth of roads and other infrastructure nationwide. With the NDC, a party financier can show up without any contract and claim that the government owes him money. And instead of the attorney general, who is paid to defend the country, showing up in court to do her job, she rather forced the government to illegally pay $52 million to this crook. The NPP is the one that secures court orders to sell his properties to repay that money, and additionally makes sure any new judgment debt claim is vigorously challenged to protect the national purse. Now, in the history of Ghana, there has never been a government official who collected salaries for being a member of parliament and also for being a minister. In all 9, count them, 9 members of parliament who were also serving as ministers under the Mahama administration collected salaries for both positions in violation of Section 124, subsection 1 of the Criminal and Other Offences Act 1960, Act 29. As amended in 2012, Act 849, Section 124 relates to the offence of stealing. The NPP, on the other hand, has been in government on 2 occasions, just as the NDC has, but no such instance has any of the officials taken double salary. Trust me, the corrupt NDC is not the same as the NPP. Now, here's another example of the difference between the NDC and the NPP when it comes to corruption. The NDC condones it, but the NPP fights it. The NPP has increased the budget of the 5 main investigative bodies by 25% from 2016 to 2017 budgets. On top of that, the NPP has again increased the 2018 budget by 34%, a whopping 34% over the already increased 2017 budget. And the 2019 budget levels have been maintained. And there is a reason for that. The current president respects institutions and is committed to building them for a stronger Ghana. He will do his job, he will appoint competent officials and tax them to work for Mother Ghana. But when an allegation is leveled against them, he will remove them from office and refer them to the relevant authorities to investigate and, if possible, prosecute them. Trust me, I say the corrupt NDC is not the same as NPP. Now, I can go on and on with several examples, but the fact of the matter is that when it comes to corruption, the size of corruption, NDC is as big, as huge as the VIP bus, as compared to NPP, who is as small as the Okada, the motor bicycle. You can't compare the two. They come nowhere close. But you know, the worrying thing is that many Ghanaians have been convinced to believe that the two parties are the same. It's sad. But it is clear that when the facts are properly examined, it's obvious that the two parties are not the same. So why does the party which does so well, not only at governing, but also at fighting corruption, often get painted alongside the guilty ones whenever they are in power. Why does the MPP, which does so well in introducing very strong programs, allow itself to be so bastardized with baseless and proven allegations of corruption whenever they are in power? In 2008, MPP, after such great work, allowed the NDC propaganda machine to tell so many lies about the officials to the extent that some Ghanaians actually believed it. NDC politicians even succeeded in printing fake bank statements claiming the MPP officials had looted money and stashed into bank accounts, convincing even MPP supporters that something was wrong. But after 8 years of NDC in power, it later proved that not one MPP official was actually proven to be corrupt. Now today the NDC has started the same strategy. As the MPP is busy building one district, one factory, they are busy hauling one day, one allegation. And some elements in the media make it their stock in trade to follow the NDC to the gutter daily, much to the detriment of the nation's future. Even when the MPP administration takes action by subjecting its own people to independent institutions for action, some elements say that is not enough. Now, don't be fooled by the NDC pot that now wants to call the MPP kettle black. If we are really serious about winning the fight against corruption, what we need is a party that doesn't condone corruption and builds strong institutions to fight it. Well, I would rather take a leader who invests in anti-corruption institutions any day than a leader who can't even answer a simple question. Mr. President, have you been offered a bribe before?
You mean as president?
As John Mahama.
As a human being?
As a person.
Any human being in the world would have encountered, corruption in a way, one way or the other, either being offered a bribe or a bribe being demanded from you. What you need to do is to put yourself in a position...
Mr. President, did you take it?
No, I haven't taken a bribe.
I think Ghanaians, even including the so-called civil society leaders, should stop the jokes, honestly, and get serious. Support leadership that strengthens institutions for fighting corruption and demand accountability from those institutions. After all, we all agreed we should be building strong institutions and not strong men. Or, as for the MPP, I will find time to deal with their often clumsy defenses when accused, when even as the ordinary discerning mind can tell there's no substance to the allegations. But for now, let the truth in politics be told that the MPP and the NDC are not the same when it comes to the fighting of corruption. Now, if at any point we find that the MPP is engaged in a scheme to create, loot and share the resources of this country like the NDC does, we will loudly say it. But for now, there's only one party that is hopelessly corrupt, and the party is the National Democratic Congress, NDC. Let the truth in politics be told. My name is Lady Just, and this is the truth in politics.